Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Game Changers podcast. My name is Quinn Sejus, and it's a privilege and pleasure to be here with you, as usual. This is a special edition of the podcast, so much so because it is coming from the University of the Southern Caribbean.
Yeah.
In fact, it's from the Social Sciences Auditorium in particular. Now, this is an institution that has really shaped me into the game changer I am today.
All right.
And I believe that it's not just me, it's also true for my three guests, my three special guests, my three friends. But I will not introduce them. I'll give them the privilege of doing that for themselves. So, guys, you're giving your name, you're giving your profession, and you're also giving where you're from, because Game Changers is an international podcast, right?
Nice
I want
one.
to start with the precious lady in our midst.
There we go. The butterfly queen.
Hi everyone, my name is Shakila John.
Hi, Shakira.
I am an occupational therapist by profession, and I'm from the beautiful island, Twin Island state of Trinidad and Tobago.
Sweet TNT, all right, all right. Mr. Next door on the left.
Mr. Next Door.
Yeah.
My name is Dominic Merritt, and I am the Dean of Men for the Timothy Graves Dorm here at USC.
All right.
I am not from the Twin Island Republic, as you can tell. I
Okay.
don't have the same accent. I'm
Nope.
from Barbados.
Ah.
And it is a privilege to be here with you guys today.
For sure. Some of you might know this voice, and you might now be seeing his face for the first time, but Dominic is actually a repeat guest on the podcast.
yeah,
all right? So, yes, you know the voice. You're not going crazy if you think you've heard it before. Next gentleman.
Right. My name is Anton Charles. I am a what is it?
Yeah. I was waiting for to hear what you would say.
But currently by profession, I am a CEO, co-founder of my own business, A to Z Art Space, which has three legs: A to Z production, A to Z music, A to Z design. And I run that together with my loving brother, Steve Child. And I'm from the beautiful island of St. Lucia.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. More Lucians in the house. More Lucians in the house. And, you know, a Bajan, a Trini, and a St. Lucian walks into a podcast. It sounds like the start of a bad joke. Like a terrible joke, but I will not go down that path. Definitely not go down that path. All right, guys. So you've told us your line of work, but tell us why. I like to ask that question. Right? One of my favorite books is Start With Why, and I always see that as a great start to any interview.
Yeah.
Why the profession that you guys picked? Whoever wants to go first. Kila, you want to go first again?
All right, cool, no scene. All right, so why OT? Most people don't even know what occupational
Yes, most
therapy
people ask, like,
is.
what is that? Yeah.
Far less, how do you even start a career in something that you don't
Yeah.
know about? Well, I was talking to Quinn earlier, and I was just kind of going down, how did I even end up on this path? So
Yeah.
the truth is, after I finished USC in 2018, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life.
Right.
So I took a gap year, and all of a sudden somebody proposed that I be a student aide. Right, so I was assigned to a student with a disability. Her disability was cerebral palsy, and it wasn't until I started working with her, and we would accomplish like these little tasks, and I would feel a sense of like pride and accomplishment in seeing her progress like so well throughout her term at school. And I was like, I kind of like this feeling.
Right.
Can I continue in this?
For sure.
Continue in this path. And I had heard about OT probably like 2 or 3 years before that, and well, because I thought I knew what OT was, I began exploring a bit more. At the time, there was a young lady, Kimara, right, guys?
All
She was
right,
in the school doing OT here at USC, and so I spoke with her, and then I started like shadowing other OT, just getting a feel for like the profession, and I fell deeper and deeper in love with it, and well, here we are.
Wow. So her passion found her, right?
Yeah.
So she didn't find it, her passion found her.
Correct.
Was it the same for you, Dominic?
I can say it was a mixture of both.
Okay, tell us how.
When the opportunity came for this job, and that was back around October 2022, I remember distinctly, I was praying and asking God for some guidance regarding a career, because there I was finishing up the coursework for the master's program that I was enrolled in 2020. and now looking to finish your thesis for it. And I remember, I was asking God for a job, and for something too that would bring fulfillment and would be in line with my purpose.
Right.
I always felt calling towards working with young people in particular. So, and that is why the program in psychology, masters that I've chosen, looks at community based work. And I remember the job opportunity came up, the vacancy came up, and it felt right. And I think everybody on this panel can relate with when opportunity and passion kind of coincide.
Right. Perfect.
And
Yeah.
it felt like, okay, this is that moment. And I so much so I prayed and I started to write down a plan already, a strategic plan of what I would do should I get the job. And here we are today.
Beautiful. It kind of baffles me. Every time that I listen to Dominic and he says that he's the dean of the men's dorm, it baffles me. It's like I was on dorm with this guy.
Yeah.
Right? He was a room opposite from me, and now
Yeah.
he's the dean of the dorm that I used to be on. It blows my mind all the
I
time.
feel
It means
you,
I'm
man.
getting old. Not Dominic's not getting old. I'm getting old. Right? It means I'm getting old. Anton, tell us about your story too, your profession.
For me, with the
He's
things.
secretly Mozart.
Yes, not secretly. It's not a secret.
Oh gosh. Well, for the music aspect of things, music has just always been a part of our family.
Yes.
So we grew up around music, man. My dad is a musician. My mom is a singer. My uncles, aunts, cousins, everybody is involved in music. Our church family is all into music, man. A lot of singers and musicians coming out from that church. So music was never really an option. It was just what you know. It's just what you knew, man. When I started to dive into my passion for video editing, though, had to do with a sense of I really wanted to become like the cartoon characters that I saw on TV, right? And I really was a cartoon back then. But yeah, I really wanted to have all those powers and stuff like that. And then I think I was at an age by which I came to the realization that was just not possible. And that was disappointing to know. But then the power of YouTube brought me to a YouTube channel, and I saw these guys who had these videos, and they were like firebending and doing like Kamehameha waves and stuff, and I was like, yes, I could take this option, man. Might not have it in real life, but we'll fake it till we make it, man. So I started my journey of video editing through my desire to want to, be like the characters I saw on TV, whether it be spy movies. It started with spy movies, karate, experts and all that type of vibe, superheroes. And it just took me on a journey of, just exploring new techniques and skills within the video editing world that I would have never thought would have resulted in, this newfound, love for film and video production that has become, just one leg of my career and my profession today, man. So yeah, and graphics designs came at a later point in life, and it's just interesting the way everything just kind of lined up, right? You started with your music at home, and you just build that love based on your environment, and then of course TV gave you that passion to want to be involved in theatrics and cinematography and all that stuff, and then graphic design came at a point in time by which you just didn't really know what to expect, and then an opportunity came for me while I was doing my first degree at USC, and I was back home in St. Lucia, and they were like, hey, we have a training program. My auntie was a part of the program, and she was like, you and your brother should join. So we did it, and we ended up getting our CVQ, our certification in graphic design, and now those three areas have become the three legs of our our business today: production, music, and design. It's an awesome journey.
We see and the two of you outside of Anton with the briefing. Anton is one of the most creative individuals.
Oh yeah, nah. That title most definitely goes to Rocket. Nah, for sure. I find one has more creativity than Rocket.
He brings things to life in some very interesting, hilarious, poignant, and emotional ways.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man.
I know that also a major part of your professional life started with your journey here.
Yeah.
So, right? But let's do some background. How did you even get here?
Okay, I remember when I came here, that was in 2015. Before I came, I was actually working in government for about 5 years. And I started working very early. I started working almost as soon as I left school. So I remember around 2014, I was really trying to settle down as to what I wanted to study. And I was watching a lot of my friends, starting their own study journeys, doing the degrees, finishing the first degree and thing. And I was saying, wow, what am I going to do? And I remember I was praying, I was asking God, what is there out there for me that would kind of match, my passion and especially what he would want me to do. I remember, theology is something that came to me. All right. And funny enough, I know people always ask me if I got the calling, and my answer to that really and truly is I got an awareness as to this is part of what I want you to do for me, right? And I felt that awareness from God for a while. And what I started to do was to try to keep my talents geared towards some kind of ministry. So I remember I was starting to work with AOI. I was working with a drama group back home. I was working with a mime group back home, and I kept busy in those paths. And then I was preaching too off and on because I was part of a missionary group that would go around the Caribbean world and preach the gospel and so on. So I remember all of that, coming to USC, coming to do theology, and that kind of kept me going. That is where it started. But I think for me, my eureka moment was coming on to pandemic time, 2020, where things kind of became full circle for me. And I realized, you know what? Definitely going to be working in empowering others. In this case, young people on the north.
Well, my journey wasn't as romantic. Actually, I resisted coming to USC. Everything, right? And that was just me being rebellious, to be very honest.
Adventist education, no.
So I grew up in the Adventist system, right? So I went to Adventist primary school, Adventist secondary school, and I got to a point where it was like, I am done with these Adventist church schools. I need to go somewhere else. So I was on track to UE, to be very honest, right? So that was bad at the time. But I didn't want to do A-levels, though. I didn't want to do A-levels.
Form 6, nothing.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to do Form 6. I don't want to go back in that schooling uniform. So one of my friends at the time, she was actually here at USC, and she was on track to do med as well. And she's like, you could come and you could do bio, and then that will help you with, launching your medical degree and all that. So I was like, okay, but at USC, like, really? So after I wrote CXC, I think it was when I finished CXC, my aunt was like, Keela, come, let's go sign up for USC. And I was like, but I don't want to go to USC. But I was like, okay, fine, we just fill out these documents and whatever. Submitted it. Then I got a letter. They told me I was accepted, and then come to orientation. So I was like, well, okay. So I come to orientation, and I'm just sitting there. And one thing that was really strange from the time you came onto USC's campus, for some reason, everybody was just like real happy.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's like you when you go into like Ba Sing Se and like everybody just kind of
It's like, welcome to Ba Sing Se. There's no crime in Ba Sing Se.
correct. And I was just like, okay, this seems a little bit strange, but it was like a nice strange. It was like it wasn't like an uncomfortable strange at the time. It's like, okay, I sat down in orientation. I was like, yo, this school don't seem as bad as I made it out to be in my head. And well, yeah, that's how I started my journey here at USC. I didn't regret it at all, actually. Yeah,
I just remembered I wanted to go to actually NCU. I remember I wanted to go to NCU. A little before that, I had gotten a part scholarship to go to Oakwood. But funding was the issue.
Answer, you.
Nah, boy, that is a piece of tail. Personally speaking, I actually didn't know about the university until like probably like midway through like high school. Like I didn't really have like aspirations to necessarily go to any particular school like Dominic and Keel and stuff like that. So when university started to become a topic, as a teen, and then of course you at an Adventist secondary school because we went to the same school grade and things. So you don't know is USC everybody talking about? So it's like, all right, cool, well USC. It's just, I mean, this is what we know now. I would admit though that I did for the aspect of film though, I did research Full Sail University, as a potential, school to develop myself as a film director or just video editor and video production. But much like in Dominic's case, American school expensive. So yeah, that was just like out the window. So USC became it, and my family started school together. It was myself, my dad, and my mom actually started when I was in fifth form. So they were doing classes a year before, and then I joined the program. All of us were still on the St. Lucia campus, and then my brother joined the program after. And being in school with your folks and in classes, especially now coming out of secondary school, was kind of an interesting dynamic to be in and stuff like that. But it didn't really settle, truly being in school because we were still home and we were still, on the extension campus. So it didn't really, settle like it was like a full-on college until my dad was like, all right, missy, we packing up things, we gone, right? And we were like, what do you mean by that? And it's like, we're going to Trinidad. Right now, intentionally, the goal was to be able to go to Trinidad, do degrees, and you come back. Right, so the year before we left, we started to sell stuff home, like furniture and stuff like that. We kept the house, but we started to sell furniture because school expensive and things, right, for a family of 4 and 5. So we did that 2014, and then 2014 we had a flight. We came down here. They put us, and I'll never forget this. They put us on an extension guest house in Mountain View, and in my mind, I was like, this is such a beautiful place. You mean to tell me we get to live here for the entire 4 years? But that was a lie. Because literally a couple days afterwards, they told us, all right, your apartment at Marriage Complex is ready. And then we came on campus to Marriage Complex, and I was like, Lizzie, what is this? My beautiful college dream. and this is like the job. And then, of course, the thought of being in school with your folks also came to play because it was like, who comes to school with the parents and stuff, man? But again, what like Keela would have said, stepping foot on USC is like stepping foot into like a bubble that is just like, separate from the rest of the world. I remember walking on this campus and I could just smile like daily. It just felt like a whole new world, Aladdin, right? And it was just like, it was like magic because everything you wanted to do was available. You got your musicians, you had your singers, you had your drama folks, you had like your actors who wanted to make on the film side of stuff as opposed to theater. You had your comics, and then you had, all these, romances happening that you could mark on thing. It was a beautiful place to be at the time, man. And that was all 2014. But then over the years, we realized that, the intention for, or at least maybe we just as children didn't know that was the plan eventually, but when we came to the realization that, really what it would mean for the family is that we really have to give up everything home to really be here. We had to commit to that. So in 2017, we had sold off the family home. And that was rough, man. Like I would walk around that place and like it's like you would see like flashbacks of your young black self just running around the place and stuff and thing. And it really, was sad to think, man. But I think at that time that was really when God had instilled a total dependency type of character where it was like you are now finally letting go of something that you would have tried so hard to hold on to as a sign of faith, that I will provide for you, your family, and everything. And at that point in time in our university experience, being at USC for about 2.5 years, it was like, you know what, God, you're right. You're not God, you're right? And from then on, I have worried for nothing. And God took this entire family through school. We've made so many great, family, friends, and all that type of stuff, man. It has been the best experience, and I will always be grateful for that step that both my mom and my dad would have taken for us
to sacrifice everything that they would have worked hard to build. Right, I'm speaking like I was the one who paid for the house and stuff like that. I was just a child, I was the benefactor, and coming to USC and finding, a lot of work, and God just put us in the right purview, allow persons to see us for who we were, and then, sponsorships would have come, based on the hard work that, you just naturally feel to do, being an international student in a country where you know nobody, right? And, it really was a divinely scripted plan, and it's one that has changed our lives forever, man. Forever.
I love that.
I just wanted to add too that so I could kind of relate to what Anton is saying in terms of his entire family, coming to school, right? Because at the time it was myself, my sister, and my mother. Three of us came in here. I mean, thankfully we had gates at the time.
Big up gate.
It was very open for us, right? But still, we were coming from South, so we couldn't do that travel. So we had to stay on dorms. So we kind of could have related to some of the dorm students or international students in terms of like having to wonder how do you pay for dorm and all that. And we really did have to depend a lot on God. And I think that this USC experience, I might be jumping a question, I don't know, but this USC experience really did build my faith.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have been given that platform to launch my spirituality, my faith in God, had I gone anywhere else. And I really do appreciate that, yeah.
Given the partners you guys, well, both you and Anton actually spoke about that same aspect. What about you, Dominic? How has USC do to your faith or tested over in that?
Hey. Testify, brother.
Why? USC has really tested my faith. Huh? I remember one instance, graduation time 2020 for me, and pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
And we were planning a grand graduation for 2020. We had shirts, we had hoodies, top of the line, everything. The prime minister of my country was to come in to do the graduation speech. So many plans we had. Boom. Of course, case. And I remember how everything it was in a blur. One of the distinct memories I have though is seeing a picture of Anton at airport, face mask, surgical gloves, hoodie. That was how every student felt, especially international students. And I remember that last semester was really rough because I was completely low with the money. We didn't have any other loans that we could look for. There was no money coming in.
Yeah.
And I remember that my plan was to immediately start the master's in September of that year. And I was telling God, come on. I mean, you brought me this for, I needed money for this because I am owing school right now almost $20,000. I don't know where the money's going to come from. And I remember I was praying, I was asking God, and God provided a way, I kid you not, during August. During that time of uncertainty, he provided that money, and I was able to continue my studies here at UNC. And that's just one of the many instances that God has pulled through and has reminded me that I would never give up on you.
I guess that's almost unintentional holistic development. I mean, this is one of the major core values of this sport.
Yeah.
But I think it's almost unintentional. It teaches you these lessons even when, it didn't intend to in the force of studying.
Right.
That's really good. All right. We spoke about the spiritual development, but let's think about the professional development. Is there anything specific that you learned during your time at USC? And this is not limited to classes. Anything specific that you learned during your time at USC that you are now using in your career that is really transforming the career?
Okay. And for me, I would say there are several things. But one thing in particular that I have learned professionally from USC has actually been through the line of ASB. Right? All right. Where that, for those who don't know, is the representative body for the students on campus, the associate student body executive. And I remember being part of the ASB for 3 years, and I would have started on the school magazine known as The Channel, Big up Quinn. Yes, sir. And would have started with that, grew along a team, worked, I would have gotten to interact with the likes of Anton, phenomenal videographer, script editor, everything. I would have been able to be in projects where I got to see the importance of dedication. And in leadership, that is something that is very important. Knowing that you cannot do everything on your own and you have to trust people with tasks. And because of that, that has helped me professionally in my job, where it is a lot easier for me to delegate. And I just don't delegate. I delegate to levels of competency, right? And levels of experience. So it has taught me to trust people and to trust even when people fail, because it is a building block type of experience for them and for myself, right? And that is something that is really, important for me in my capacity.
I'm glad that you brought up PS because it's also the same for me. During my time, so I was the editor of the channel After Dark. When I go into interviews and I tell them when I was the editor of my school magazine, people their eyes open wide. Their eyes open even wider than someone who actually studied journalism.
Yeah.
They don't typically have that type of experience. And that's why I also want to implore people who are watching us, if you don't do anything other than your degree, you
Kind of waste of time, huh?
Yeah, true.
let's say from Kilo.
Yeah.
In terms of your professionalism.
Right. So I was not on ASB, but I was in a leadership position actually in his love.
Yes,
So at one point I was section leader for Soprano Big Up Business.
It's that.
Yeah. And I think, so I am very shy in nature, and I think that sort of forced me to step out where I had to manage like all these females, right? Manage all these people, ensure that people were learning their parts, coming out to practice on time, and just sort of managing personalities and all of that. So I think professionally I could lean back on that experience because I deal with children and parents, right? And sometimes you have to be able to navigate different personalities. Not everybody's going to come across as sweet and butterfly. Some people are a little more hardcore, and you have to be able to like switch it up and be assertive when you have to, and still be friendly at the same time, So I think that was what I sort of gleaned from my time here at USC.
Excellent.
Man, USC has been a platform for a lot of things where professional development has to, do what it has to do with professional development. With just being in leadership positions, across, campus life, I have seen so many different platforms for leadership here on this campus, man. The opportunities to be involved in, student development as a student yourself is pretty much almost endless, right? And if it doesn't exist, the opportunity to create the niche exists, right? So you have no excuse as to why you cannot develop yourself as a leader. And I've been blessed to be in leadership positions for many different groups. I was a head of the drama club at a point in time, head of the band, drama mal, big up boy, that was vibes. Head of the band for the praise team, right? Then I ended up becoming the director of His Love Choir that we were all a member. Queen, you was there? Queen have a voice on him, one of these days he go sing for you on the show.
Anton was one of the best social cultural directors.
All right, I was on ASB, yeah, sure, yeah, ASB, yeah, for real, yeah, and ASB, like Dominic said, really did open your eyes, as to how certain things within the organizational, world works, man. Something as simple as sending requisitions, right, doing up invoices and all that type of stuff. As a student, especially as a student who comes out of secondary school and doesn't really have that experience, it's very great to be a part of an organization that furthers your development. And USC is big on student development. It really did shock me just how much responsibility, right? And trust some of these administration heads would have given to students, right? And when it comes to having money, budgeting, for events and that type of stuff. And I'm like, you want me to take such and such amount of money and plan this whole on this bet? No, we good, right? Yeah, no, for sure, right? And they're all about student development. Pastor Nacy, Dr. Brown, just to name a few, man. They're all about student development. Leadership rules is one of the biggest things that I enjoyed about being on campus. And of course, it would have definitely, helped me out in my own business. Being able to delegate responsibilities to people, which was a big thing for me, a big challenge at a point, because I like to do things by myself. I'm like Batman, right? I work alone, right? I don't generally like to, rely on people. At least I didn't used to, because I felt like anything I need, I can do for myself. And that was just my whole thing, right? I could just do everything for myself. I don't really like to rely on people, because relying on people, human error and all that type of stuff. But it reached a point where God had to kind of force me to, rely on people, because, whether it means you were just taking on too much and you fell sick, which happened a lot, and you realize, man, you're a part of a group, you're a leader of a group. Even though you have all these ideas, man, you cannot limit the group, to just your ideas. You can't limit also yourself, to just yourself, right? So you need to be able to trust and rely on people. And it was through those experiences and through having good examples of leadership, CJ, Darrell, they pass his love directors and so forth. It really did create a character that was just, that mold for what is now, this new Anton, this new version of Anton, who is championing this business world like a child in a video game, just bossing himself through the adults, phase and stuff. And sometimes you look at yourself from the outside perspective, and it's like you are a child. You're just playing the adult game, but you're really good at it, right? Because of the experience that you would have had, man. So platform, Keela used that word, the platform USC provides for you to just be whoever you want to be, man.
Sort of your social development, I guess, or your social enhancement. How was USC else done that? I just started the social
cultural director.
I would like to tell you, man, USC has actually made me learn that I am part introverted. Yeah. Right. Happened during COVID, to the point where I realized that as much as I love being around people, I really like to be by myself. I really like to be by myself. But, not discrediting, of course, all the social opportunities you had here, man. I mean, from the time you touch campus, everybody just becomes like a family friend, right? It's so easy to make friends on this campus. Like, what?
Almost too easy.
Yeah, it's almost too easy to make friends on this campus, man. You will find people who share all your interests, and, freshman social is where it begins, right? Freshman social, orientation. I never had orientation. I came like after orientation, so I never experienced my own orientation at USC. So I'm sure for most people, orientation was where it begins, socializing with everybody. But for me, outside of the Lucian people that I already knew and stuff like that, it was freshman social, right? Freshman social for sure was that pinnacle social event that just was the catalyst to, everything. Right, where social engagements and building friends and networking, was, man. Any social that has a bull to ride and a water slide to go down and people jumping around and eating crackers and choking on it is a great time, right? Yeah. Freshman social was it for me, man, and it made me realize that everybody is a clown on this campus. Everybody, right? Nobody takes themselves seriously on this campus, and that is really where you just feel the ways to express it, and then everything just kind of, skyrockets from there, man.
Was a freshman social. And there's a particular picture. In fact, when I was inside the channel, we took that picture. And the picture looks like, to the untrained eye, it looks like chaos. You shan't understand how beautiful that chaos
Oh, gosh.
is. You killer, anything.
Well, what immediately comes to mind is Table Squad. But right, so Cal, I think for me that was like pinnacle of my socialization. Again, being an introvert, my only friends for like my first semester were my roommates. Right? Thankfully I had my big sister to sort of chaperone me around, right? Because she's the extrovert, I'm the introvert. And we know all extroverts adopt an introvert. So my sister adopted me, right? And it was true calf, like just sitting, enjoying food or enjoying in ankles.
Wow.
Right?
Calf is amazing. Every student that's gone to USC can relate.
No, just like sitting down in between classes, just or after church on a Sabbath, with fine dining, like. So I mean, like all sorts of crazy.
Get him. This generation doesn't know about fine dining. Yeah, they don't. They don't.
Putting that plug to bring back fine dining. I don't know. And it was. Bonding around food was definitely probably one of my highlights there. Yeah.
For me, it has to be when I entered dorm. That was the first thing because coming from home, my parents at home. I was working, as I said, contributing to paying the bills every month, and just kind of helping to manage the house. And now coming into the environment where, one, I'm jobless. I'm completely dependent on my parents for any source of income. And I have to live with somebody I've never lived with before.
Mercy.
And I have to share that space of 12 by 12. 12 in life, 12 in with this person
is a box.
On that side and that person then on that side. Yeah. And I'm going through that process because too, I'm coming to Trinidad, a completely different culture. It was a little challenging for me in my first month. But I remember that dorm life, that experience of the late night conversations with the guys. Whether we're talking about girls, or whether we're talking about school, whether we're talking about life, those things started then to kind of pull me out of my shell, so to speak, and it made me, into a person that wanted to socialize more. Then with choir, yes, bro, really,
Hey, is love, man.
Started to look forward to seeing certain people, certain females. Yeah, it's like I wonder there, and the rest is history. Yeah, so definitely dorm life and the choir.
And they're into the dorm experience as well, because boy, you become these are become your family.
Yeah. Your brotherhood. The ramen moments late at night where you're studying and you need something to hold you down. And even the struggle too taught me a lot.
Tom struggles.
You don't struggle. Your videos, don't struggle.
Ever.
Of boy.
That's tough.
We had something called USC Blue. USC Blue Wi-Fi was the worst of the worst.
But there was a time when there was no water on dorm, and my brother and I decided to scream. We had this genius idea that we would carry water up cardiac.
Wow.
Was that the time that the water was off for a month?
Oh, wild.
And the tanks they had anything?
Even that.
Listen, toilets were smelling like.
Listen, I feel like that semester I was traumatized. Like,
no water. Every day,
waking,
man, just put not at spray.
and you're waking up to the sun and water dropping in a bucket. Like, nah.
Cringe.
Right, but there we go.
It was really Hunger Games. It was really Hunger Games.
I tell my dad to this day, because of the time that I spent on Linda, I've camped enough for the rest of my life. I've not been to a camp.
Yeah, Linda also had it really rough. Oh.
But
Your water was up like every
forged
weekend.
friendships. That's what it was.
Beautiful.
This ad slot could be yours. In a world filled with stories, make yours resonate. Introducing Prime ad slots on our podcast, the gateway to a captive audience eager to hear your message. Secure your exclusive ad slot now. Contact via our Instagram page to find out more.
right, guys. So we're moving on to my favorite segment of a Game Changers podcast. It's called a Quick Hitters segment. Yeah. Now, this segment is a rapid fire question. All right. I'll ask each of you one question.
Okay.
And the question is, what part of your development are you currently working on?
My area of development right now is on personal leadership. And that is being able to master discipline. Right? That is one thing that I realized that I need to work on. So I've been actively trying to make progress in that area. And because if I'm expecting the guys on the dorm to be more disciplined and to be more effective, I myself have to take the plunge. Right? And that is for me the area that I'm working on most right now.
Okay, next question goes to Tiro. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Worst? Oh, wow. Worst piece of advice? I don't know. What was the worst piece of advice I've ever heard, boy? I could tell you the best.
Okay.
All right, I gave the best one, right? This was actually a message that somebody sent to me probably last week. It said, in my own words, your voice is the voice you hear the most. So be mindful of what you tell yourself. Wow. And I was like, yeah. And I am somebody who, again, I'm at the beginning part of my career, right? So imposter syndrome has been real. And I'm like, I need to change the narrative, right? Like of what I'm telling myself. So instead of saying, I don't know what I'm doing, start saying, I do know what I'm doing, right? I am on top of my game. I'm not faking it till you're making it.
Correct.
But learning it till you earn it.
Gosh, fire.
I love that.
So, Anton, your question, and I think that should be an easy question for you. Who do you like to see on Game Changers?
Rocket!
I knew that was coming. Why did I know that was coming? Well, we'll see what we can do.
Mission is
Rocket.
We'll let Ivan this.
Rocket.
The legend.
walking in the rain.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, your life is going to be changed forever.
Correct.
All right, once you hear this man's life story,
We
man.
will be walking in the rain on that.
There we
And
go.
you know the thing too about him is why I genuinely like about Rocket. He
Resilient?
takes life on.
Yeah.
He takes it on with confidence.
Yeah.
For sure.
And funny enough, his full name is actually Willen Ivan Nurse, and he pointed out to me that's the acronym WIN.
WIN.
Hey!
Fire
And I'm saying, wow,
I've actually never
that is so encouraging.
realized that, you know.
Yeah, until this moment.
What?
That's really good.
Nah, Rocket is the man, man.
Take on life.
Yeah, Rocket is the man.
That's the moral of the story.
Everybody who has passed through this campus has experienced the Rocket.
Yeah,
Correct.
yes.
Correct.
The Rocket.
The
The
Rocket.
Rocket.
The Rocket.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll see if we can get the Rocket on. All right, guys. My next question. We're coming to the end, close to the end of the interview.
Aw.
What is next for you guys? I know that's a loaded question, right? The one a while ago you had to answer quickly. I know this one might take a little time to think. Maybe let's start with Dominic. What is next for you?
Okay. I would have highlighted that I'm finishing my thesis in this master's program. I am contemplating doing another program afterwards.
Nice,
You like
man.
schoolboy?
School is nice,
I
you
think
know.
I like being effective.
Okay.
And I'm thinking the area that I'm looking at next will help me to be more effective.
Okay.
And that is my aim. Right? So I'm looking right now at business psychology because my program that I'm finishing now is counseling psychology. So it deals with people and dealing with one-on-one situations and group situations. But why I say business? Because I've noticed that there is a lack of development when it comes to how businesses, how organizations interact with employees, how they interact with persons on a whole. And one of the things that I always ask God for is the ability to help tap into what are people's greatest needs and see how I can kind of use my skills and talents to bridge the gap to get them to where they need to be.
For sure.
Right? And I think with that, they'll be a little more effective.
Absolutely. I like that a lot. Kilo?
What's next for me? Well, I'm actually in the process of finding my niche in OT. So I recently told somebody a joke which was I identify as a pediatric occupational therapist now, right? So I want to like further my knowledge, my basis, my specialties in things like pediatrics. I'm looking at either becoming a neonatal therapist, so working in the NICU with basically the young children, infants who have some sort of complication from birth. So that's one aspect of it. On the personal side, I don't know if I'm being corny for putting this in here, but I'm getting married.
Flash that ring, killer. Flash that ring. Look at those carrots.
And I'm married to her beautiful sister.
Yeah.
Sophia John Barrett.
Family connection there, boy. And I live next to him.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big thing going on.
Our toilets are just, an air short away.
One flush away.
One flush away.
One flush away.
Well, most definitely something to eat after this, and food and sleep, man.
In that order.
And more sleep, actually.
There
Never doubt the power of sleep, man. But I'm definitely gonna finally take on this masters in film, man. Yeah.
I love it.
It has been a long time coming, right? And things are working out in a way where I'm seeing my opportunities, I'm seeing the options, I'm building up the portfolio, just beefing it up every step of the way, and God is just continually opening up more doors, more opportunities, man, to just be able to just do more things. And I really thank Him for COVID. It sounds very messed up, right? But COVID really was that turning point,
pivot.
right? Especially for my business and everything and stuff like that. Just having the opportunity to grow it into an establishment that is befitting the caliber and quality of gifts and talents that we have been blessed with, and to be able to take it in new routes that would just not on the agenda at all, man. So I feel I've done the comp sci, I've done the graphics, I've done the music. I'm about to graduate from this music degree, right? And film is the next big step, man. All right, so look out, Tyler Perry. I'm coming for you, right? Now we're gonna be doing some cool stuff.
As young people say, period.
All right, so these were beautiful answers, guys. Final question, though. A young person is listening to this podcast and is inspired by you guys because they really want to be like you guys. What advice would you give to them? Whether that be USC-oriented advice or just life advice in general. I want to go to Killer first.
So, to the young person listening out there, I would say take the time to pursue opportunity. Don't run away from it. Sometimes you don't know what path that opportunity will take you on. So don't be afraid to take it by its horns once it's God ordained and run with it, because you never know where you'd end up.
Well, for me, 3 things. First of all, keep God as the front and as the center, right? Pray and ask Him, for guidance as to what you should become and what you should bring to this world at this time. Secondly, I would say feel forward, as I've once heard by Denzel Washington. Don't be afraid to try.
Correct.
Don't be afraid to feel, but feel forward. Fall forward, don't fall back. And number 3, I would say don't count the days, make the days count. Make the days count.
You can tell that Dominic, who used to be the editor of the channel, right? With the words, these words, these beautiful words Dominic was using, the SB made a right choice. Anton?
For me, man, my advice would be seize the moment. Seize the moment, man. Really and truly, there's so much that we try to plan, for and plan ahead and stuff. But the reality of it is, opportunities are just going to be knocking on your door at random moments, right? Just random opportunities coming at you at random moments. And, if you don't take advantage of these opportunities, then you really will regret it, right? If it's one thing that really I beat myself up for the most is missed opportunities, right? Whether it be a missed opportunity to say something funny and make somebody laugh, right? Or missed opportunity for a job, offer, or missed opportunity, to enhance myself or to develop myself better. These things, you don't plan for certain opportunities, man. They just present themselves. So seize the moment, live every day like it's possibly your last. You still have your plans. No one is saying don't go through with it, but be very open to the idea and the very real fact that everything is not going to go as planned.
Correct.
Right? Everything is not going to go as planned, but there is still something that you can do by a day-to-day basis that is going to go towards your intended goal while still allowing yourself to be able to take on new opportunities that will present themselves. And if all things, always believe that everything happens for your benefit so long as you are trusting in God in all things, man. There's nothing that he can't take you through. If he brought you here at USC, he's going to take you through it. If he gave you that job, right, and it starts off, rough, he's going to take you through it, man. Right? Nothing too hard for the Lord, man.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that, bro. Wow, we've quickly come to the end of an interview. The time went by so quickly.
Fast.
We enjoyed this conversation a lot. And to say, first of all, thank you to my panelists for coming on. I really appreciate that you decided to take this time to come on this podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. I want to also say thank you to Alex.
Ooh,
big up
the
Alex.
man name Alex, boy.
Technical, behind the scenes, who really, is facilitating. I lost my words for the second. Facilitating this whole entire setup. Thank you so much for this, and continue being yourself. I must say on a hot mic that I'm proud of each and every one of you guys, and I want you to continue going on your path. It's amazing to see people that you were at school with doing amazing things. So thank you so much for this opportunity to interview you, and I hope that you guys have the best in the future.
Man, talking about being on a podcast and seeing people you go to school with doing amazing things, man. Quinn, bro, your whole transformation, from I've known you longer than anybody here, right? So knowing you from secondary school, primary school, growing up as kids and coming here and just seeing your entire transformation, bro, you are doing amazing things, man. You are the game changer.
Thank you,
right? And it is an honor to be here. It feels weird to kind of reminisce. It makes me feel old because it feels like I'm in school. School was like what, a month ago or something. That it doesn't feel like it was so long ago. And just to see how all our lives has just been, man. But you, bro, you are doing an amazing life, changing thing. And I'm just continually, gonna support you always, bro. And we just continue to pray that God continues to use you, in the way that you have, man. You are. Damn, man, you have been a phenomenal example, brother.
Thank you very much, bro. That means a lot coming from you. Given the fact that I said you were very creative, that is a lot coming from you. Thank you so much for that. Okay, guys, we have come to the end. Before we end, I need to do a plug for the Game Changers merch. We have the merchandise on. I have it on. Anton has it on as well. Change the game, so you guys can get the Game Changers merch. Just contact me. The two in the middle, don't worry about them. I've not left them out. They will get their merch as well.
If you want merch with butterflies on it and things like that, you just have to know what comes with it.
Right? But, I really want to plug the merch. So get your merch, rep Game Changers, rep your inner game changer.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, guys. This has been yet another episode. And as usual, stay hungry. Until next time. Bye-bye.
I'm hungry right now.